This is Trophy Dark to Make My Bread, Part 2. Before we get to Ring 3, I should probably make everyone else apart from Revel contend with the fact that the environment has changed pretty suddenly, right? And so we ended last time with Risti standing before you, draped in gold, chains, jewelry. She has like a gold face cage. And she says, "Drape yourselves in the wealth of this world. You will all be aware of the heat. You will be obviously aware of Risti's changed nature. Everyone but Revel, please roll Ruin." I put a link to the die roller in the chat. Okay, so we've got Basso got a 1, Cal got a 1, and Aram got a 5. Aram, yours is going up.
Join us at 4, Ruin.
Aram, what do you think right now? How are you feeling?
I think this was just meant to be a windmill. Like, even though it's giant and big, it's still meant to be part of the normal world. And it's just not anymore. I think I am in way over my head.
I owe you a proper condition now. And I will tell you that your remaining teeth, Aram, are starting to, you feel it with your tongue first. They are fusing together on top and bottom, just a single sharp tooth. You know, no big deal. Ring 3. A rumble from above. A second cave-in. The boundaries of hell pressing forward into this space. But no, there's a rhythmic grinding. The millstone somewhere deep within is turning. Previously, you were at the edge of the well, trying to figure out how to get down to collect the gold that's down there. And then we had some drama break out. But now it's almost as if the well is inviting you down, because suddenly the earth has changed. The shaft has changed, and there's now a rough, narrow, but nevertheless existent winding path down the shaft. Risti begins going down, and you still see the gold down there. You still hear the strange chorus of geese honking. And this is where we begin Ring 3. With everyone, this is the only direction to go, regardless. Going down the shaft. As you're going down, Risti hangs back to stand next to you, Kel. And she says, "My dear boy, I wish to make a peace offering with you. I think we perhaps got off on the wrong foot. I can see now that your eyes blaze with the glint of gold. You too wish to dress yourself in finery, in jewels. And then she sort of like puts her hand on your hand, and you hear the chinkling of her bracelets. Truce.
The whole time she's talking to him, you can see the muscles in his jaws are like constantly kind of ebbing. He's holding back this very intense emotion. But the world around him is different. He is a lost pup here. And he recognizes that perhaps maybe this odd woman was onto something. But he still hates her with every fiber of his being.
She pats your swollen belly. She says, "In my younger days, I did a bit of midwifery. I'm not really sure what we're to do about this, though. I'm assuming you don't have the proper facilities to see this strange, hard child born." And indeed, it's very hard, your stomach, in addition to being very swollen.
I could see where she was like holding my hands for a moment and then stopped to put one hand on my stomach. I think Kel's hand, her hand is still kind of gently placed in. He sort of holds it a bit tight. I'll have a truce with you here. But only because I think you may be onto something. Let me be clear. This is an uneasy one. And there better be something good at the end of this. And he unclenches, and I think I think that's all he does for the time being. I think that's what he says to her and kind of tries to back off a bit.
She says, "Good, good. I am glad there is renewed peace between us." She says, "As for this," again rubbing your swollen belly, "sometimes we have to cut them out. My hand's not as steady as it used to be. But if it becomes too much for you to bear, I can do the surgery in a pinch. And now draw your ear close." And she says something quiet to you that no one else can hear. "The woman Basso, the cook, she withers away before our eyes. Before long, she will want to render your fat to replace her own. Be mindful of it. Keep your eyes open."
I think you just see his eyes gaze at Basso, seeing her withering frame. And there's that same sort of quivering in his jowls as he looks at her, and he holds it back for now.
Indeed. Aram, up ahead, still on the path going down, but up ahead you see a mess of blood and organs. No apparent bones, though. It's just a mess of viscera. You'll have to step through it or slide it off into the well to avoid walking in it.
Yeah,
You do.
I take my sword and just sort of like push it away. I really don't want to step in this. I'm not even sure. It may look like organs, but it could be something much worse.
There are no bones
Mm-hmm.
in this mess of blood and organs. There are, however, white feathers tucked here and there.
Is this a nest?
You will notice that you also have sprouted a few white feathers on the back of your hand. And you'll hear the honking of the geese down in the water. The honking becomes more discernible as cries of terror. Make a ruin roll, Aram.
Or
That's equal to your current ruin.
yeah, it's equal.
So you don't go up, but I am curious how you feel.
It's 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 almost like this is what we were brought here for. We're transforming into geese and being culled, as it were, for our bones. And that's what the white mist is. That is why there's no bones in all this gore. Such a strange fate.
Indeed.
But I still have my sword. And as long as it's in my hand, I can still fight.
Aram, your upper lip can no longer cover your single protruding tooth. Bazo, Revel's so hot. You're right next to him. Let's just have that scene of like hotter than an oven Revel going down there with you.
You know, I think you're hot enough. I could cook some dinner on you.
Render the fat, Misty says to Kel.
I don't know if it's something I ate, but I don't feel good. It's definitely, I mean, I don't really feel temperature, but this doesn't feel right. I think it's maybe like what you would call an itch.
Huh. I think assuming that we have like basic supplies, I imagine we brought water with us.
Sure. It's rapidly evaporating though.
Oh, I want to dump water on Revel, see what happens.
Just a cloud of steam. Hot steam. It burns away almost instantly.
Well, I don't know what I expected, but that's a bit of a problem. Maybe you should I don't know, move forward, hang back. I feel like you being so warm, and us being human types,
It's
you might burn
probably a
us.
good idea. I would not recommend getting too close. And I think Revel is starting to like almost like glow orange. And so there's this weird like almost like a rhythmic, almost like a lava lamp of this kind of glow moving around his stone skin. And I think he will take like a step or two back.
Hanging back is a perfect chance to get a reduction roll.
It's true.
You may want to do that before you press any further. What would you do to betray the group?
I think maybe as he passes the like blood and organs of the goose, I think he wants to take a couple of the organs just in case, he needs them for a ritual, but like maybe trying to like spread that blood around like over more of the stairs to make them dangerous on the ascent back up.
Oh, interesting. Make the reduction roll. Let's see how that goes. You got a 2, your ruin goes down, and the others don't realize what you're doing.
Excellent. And yeah, I guess he probably has a backpack. You see him sticking some like bloody organs into his backpack.
Yeah, it's good. At a certain point, when you're about halfway down, it's slow going because it's a narrow path. You get about halfway down, and there's a little bit of almost like a slightly wider landing type space. And Risti says, I must rest for a moment. The way is more exhausting, wearing all of this. And she sits down, looking something like a golden temple statue, sitting on her little rock. And whether you wait for her or not, she actually takes out a little bundle to entice you all to stay. She says, surely you're all hungry by now. And she unfurls her bundle, and she has a little thing of sweet rolls, 5 of them. She takes one, eats one, passes around the rest. Revel, I don't know if you eat or not, but she makes an offer. Does everyone take a sweet roll?
I take one and put it in my pouch.
She says, not feeling hungry, dear?
Saving it for later.
And yet you're all skin and bones. I would think you would want to start to fatten up.
Well, there's not a lot of fat in these rolls. Don't even have any butter.
Yes, yes. I am afraid even if I had brought it, it would have melted by now. It is so very hot. Aram, do you take a sweet roll?
I take the sweet roll and I consider it. Because, well, my mouth isn't exactly what it used to be. I'm not sure how I can eat like this.
It will be challenging, probably. Kel, do you take a sweet roll?
I think Kel takes it, and he realizes that with his bloated stomach, he's felt his stomach has kind of churned and hurt him this entire time, but he realizes he's so hungry, especially since he's a beast, half beast kind of now. So I think the thought of food, he starts to salivate a bit, and he kind of greedily kind of ends up snatching it up and feasting on it.
While you're all there, eating or otherwise, she takes out a bone flute and she begins playing melodies on her bone flute. And I'm going to ask you each what loved one back home, you can interpret that however you wish, does her song remind you of? And how does their memory encourage you to keep going deeper? But everyone else, pay close attention, because there might be something else going on in the song too. We'll start with Basso.
Even if it isn't an actual song of the Piper, it reminds Basso of one of the Piper's songs. The ship that Basso was on ran aground when the people of the ship heard the Piper's call, heard the music that the Piper was playing from the forest, ran aground, and like sirens, they were pulled to the forest, and there they were happy. There they were content until, of course, they were rounded up and captured by some enemy of the Piper or another. And Bazo's the only one that got free, and she knows that she needs a substantial amount of money in order to rescue her crew, who she is devoted to, so that they can return to their forest and return to their happy life.
Kel, or really Jason, the song also has a discordant note in it, the melody that is. It actually gives Basso a memory that was not there before. How describe, Jason, this, how there is something fundamentally demonic about the piper that Basso realizes upon listening to the song.
Ooh. Ah. Oh man, that threw me for a loop. Something inherently demonic about the piper.
Yeah, something that Basso realizes quite suddenly.
Um, wow.
You can think on it for a moment.
Yeah. So in Kel's head, originally, and I think I'm going to kind of play with this a bit. He was thinking of there was piping that was used to sort of control him in his like bestial form when he worked for the Southern Pass Company. They sort of used that music as a way to kind of harnessed them in their bestial state. And he kind of realizes that perhaps it's not the music that that controlled the beast per se, but it's the music that drew more of that, like that hatred, that anger, that work, that those negative emotions. That beautiful music has a way of getting inside of you and pulling out all of that hatred, that rage, that lack of empathy, and bringing it to the surface and turning you into kind of the most primal version of yourself.
So that's how the music affects you, I take it.
Yeah.
How might that implicate Basso's connection to the piper?
Mm-hmm. So real quick, my brain was like so entranced in this thought. Real quick, remind me real quick, Basso, about your direct connection with the piper.
The piper music had somehow ran my ship aground, and me and my crew went into the forest to become followers of the piper, whatever that's going to mean in this context. And somehow we got rounded up and taken away from the forest, and I'm trying to rescue them so that we can go back to the piper. If they're a real person at all. It might just be a weird forest thing.
I think that then in this implication, I love this because this is such a layered like thought here. I think the piper's music brought. I have to ask Basso then, or well, Amanda about Basso. I think what is left out is just how mutinous the crew became and how it didn't the music itself did not wreck the ship. Your crew became like ravenous for gold and treasure and riches, and it drew you deep off course, and your crew was basically just shells of their former selves. They wanted gold, they wanted money, they wanted power, they wanted everything that their adventuring hearts wanted so much that they threw themselves off to the closest place. And you all were taken advantage of and dashed against the rocks, essentially. And I think that's kind of how that would play off of that.
I love it. Thank you. Aram, who does the melody remind you of back home?
I think it reminds me of a children's song. We used to sing when we go down the road, fetching milk from the local farms for our families. And we would sing this as we would count the stones and the wall, like the small little stone walls alongside the road.
And how does it like drive you forward?
I think that place is still there. I can go home again. I think the money, I don't think that's driving around. I think it's just I want to go home and there's no way back, only a way forward.
Blaine, the music, of course, reveals terrible things as well to Aram. Why can't Aram ever go back?
I think maybe like a lot of children's songs, like in our world, they have much darker meanings. Like we think about something like Ring Around the Rosie, or even like You Are My Sunshine. Like those are songs that were taught as a kid, and when you learn like the full song or the meaning behind the song, it's actually much darker. And I think maybe in the verse there's a song about like the farmer taking a goose out to slaughter for the food for the children, and there's just this like, you know, it hits this note of like, what am I becoming? Can if I become this thing, can I go home? Am I able to, or am I changed too much?
Revel, does the song remind you of someone? And if so, who?
I think it does. I think Revel was a gargoyle on a church or house of worship of some sort, and I think the melody of the song reminds me of the leader of the church. They had this like beautiful, haunting voice, probably I think a little bit higher than the average man's voice, pushing close to like a high, like an alto or a low soprano, and the sort of highness of the notes of the flute remind me of the songs that he used to sing to the congregation. And I think I'm in particular reminded of a sermon he gave once, about how the fires of hell are just a test for men to test their mettle. And I'm a gargoyle and made of stone, so that doesn't necessarily directly apply, but it does push me on thinking that, like, you know, these are my fires, these are my tests.
Amanda, there's something fundamentally corrupt about that church that is revealed by the song, maybe even something demonic. But in any case, Revel in his mannequin naivete was not able to see it at the time. What is it?
The church appears to whoever approaches it or enters it differently. Everyone who approaches or enters it sees a different, even a different type of religion, to see whatever it is that will entice them to come in and pray and meditate and spend their energy and dedication towards the entity in the church that feeds off of it.
Good, thank you. Everyone make a ruin roll, please. I see a 5 and a 6 in there. Bazo and Kel. Seems like maybe the song is getting to you a little bit. Kel, I will tell you that the pressing inside your stomach is getting heavy and unbearable. You will have to stop while the others go on, or remove whatever is in your stomach. Bazo, you're practically an Elden Ring ghoul at this point. Your clothes are barely hanging on your frame. It's like the heat is just sucking, draining the vitality out of you, the flesh out of you. The air is burnt and heavy with black ash as you reach the bottom of the pool. You don't see the geese anymore. Just fat, slow, stupid flies bobbing up and down. The gold that had collected at the bottom has become molten. And it's just a pool of swirling molten gold. And even Risti. The chains have started to melt onto her face. You can feel her flesh, or smell her flesh charring beneath them. And she approaches the pool and she says, "Bathe yourselves in luxury. This is a gift of the earth. This is a gift of this place. And who are we to deny such gifts?" And she plunges her hands into the molten gold. She seems to have no effect or no response to the inevitable pain, but you can see her flesh steaming and charring. So passes ring 3. Let's take a 5-minute break. Ring 4. Immediate concerns. A pool of molten gold. Kel, unable to go further unless whatever is in Kel's stomach is dealt with. Regrettably, Risti will be no use in this matter, as her hands and arms are now covered in molten gold, rapidly hardening. What do you all do? Let's just have that scene.
Yeah. I think honestly, ever since eating the sweet roll, I think he's been even more so clutching his stomach. He's kind of grumbled a bit, kind of traveling down to the spot. You can tell he's been uncomfortable. And as this is happening, not too long after the hands come up, you hear just this, "Oh, God damn it," as he's just kind of overcome with this intense pain. I think he points out to, I'm gonna have to say Basso probably. "You cook. You have knives. Yes."
Well, I'm a cook, so yes, of course. And I think Bazo, with all of this wasting that's been happening to her, and she is basically almost skeletal at this point. When she took that sweet roll, it smelled disgusting. Not like how the roll smelled back, in town. It smelled like rotten decay. But somehow there's this scent of almost like pork fat, wafting. And somehow also the pouch that she has not melted or become too hot. There's something strange about that. She's been sniffing around to see where this smell is coming from, and it is coming from Kel, this delicious, rich smell. She pulls out of her pouch the sweet roll. I would like to use a ritual to poison the sweet roll. Not enough maybe to kill Kel, but just to slow him down a little.
Intriguing. I mean, I think Kel's going to be slowed down regardless because of this thing in his belly.
Just so when
Yes.
I cut it out, he doesn't chase me.
Oh, I see. Oh, yeah, that's good. I guess really we just have to kind of handle it out of character then, because like Kel, it could be that. Well, let's just like figure out what the stakes are here. I
Mhm.
think like just cutting out whatever's in Kel's stomach, if you do that, Bosso, that's just a risk roll, right? And we'll handle it in risk roll. But if you wish to do something more, like if you want to debilitate Kel, maybe even kill Kel, I don't know, that would be a contest roll, I think, right at that point.
Yeah.
Especially
Maybe I'll
because
wait
Kel is
and-
on notice that you might want his fat, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Maybe I'll wait and see what comes out of him first.
Okay, that sounds good. I think
Okay.
a risk roll is probably the right move then here to safely surgically extract whatever is in Kel's stomach. If you're okay with that, Jason.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think he's not a man of fine work. He's not like, he's a brute. He can't do that like surgical thing. So he is completely reliant on other people to do this for him.
I love it. Everyone else, what could go wrong here?
The creature that comes out is very angry and hungry and tries to kill us.
I mean, I think Kel could just die, right?
Mhm.
Any other thoughts?
I think even if he doesn't die, it's probably going to be a pretty serious wound to have to deal with.
Yeah, I think I agree. Okay.
I'm thinking like, what if the thing inside of Kel comes out and it's like a alien situation? The
Yeah, it could
movie,
be.
I mean.
I mean, I know what it is, but
There is a thing. Okay.
yeah, we'll see. I mean, we'll see. Maybe Devil's Bargains will change it, right? Any case, dice. This is for you, Basso. So do you have relevant skill here, Basso?
As a cook, I'm very familiar in cutting open slices of
Of meat.
people.
Yeah.
I
I'll take
just
it.
to just to add like a little bit fictional help. I do have iron fruit, which dulls the senses.
Mhm.
No time for that.
That could be a good justification for a help roll, though, if it comes to it, though, Aram.
Yeah.
You've got you've got one light die, Devil's Bargains. I'll make the only offer. The only offer is no matter what, whatever's inside Kel begins melting right away in the heat.
Oh, that's gross. I love it. Yeah, I'll take that.
You have 2 light dice, and I think, well, you're not vulnerable, Basso. This is really Kel's problem. So I think just 2 light dice for now.
All right. I rolled a 3. I rolled two threes.
You can add a
So
dark die and try again if you wish.
I want to, yes. Because
light, 1
I
dark.
am a bad gambler.
That is a 5 light. Aram, do you want to roll a help die?
Sure.
Like that
Let's
with the fruit.
do.
It is a 3, which is not good, and it matches the dark die in Basso's roll, so your ruin goes up, Aram. So yeah, you can keep rolling, Basso. You can add another dark die and try again. I'll tell you that the complication is just that whatever's inside, you can tell as you're cutting Kel open, it's a golden egg. and it's going to basically just almost instantly melt to molten gold, because the gold is very susceptible in this heat for some reason.
Yeah.
If you want a chance to save it, you need to add the dark die.
I think I'm going to let this egg melt.
Okay. Yeah, give us a scene, including the iron fruit.
Bazo hurries as fast as she can in her skeletal form over to Kel, who's crouched over, and just sort of very ungracefully knocks him down on his back and takes out the cleanest knife she has, which it looks like it hasn't been used in a while. It certainly hasn't been sharpened in a while. I don't think she did a lot of cooking actually in the forest. But she wastes no time in finding a nice soft spot to slice in.
I think as you're poking and prodding around and like trying to find a spot, I think for a moment, he holds he like grabs your hand tight. Listen. Careful, or you're in the pits like her.
Bazo, I knock his hand away with the hand that has the knife in it, not trying to scratch him, just who's in charge here, you know?
Yeah.
You listen. If you want this out of you, you be polite. And she gives a big whiff as the skin slices open. You can see the fat. And honestly, it's this overwhelming comfort smell to Bazo as she breathes it in. And I think she is more fascinated by that smell than by the egg right now.
Aram, you'll notice the gold egg
Mhm.
in Kel's body that is presumably going to be removed. It's already like rapidly melting in this space to join the pool of molten gold. What do?
I think Kel is struggling a little bit, like just because of the pain with like having been cut open with the gold egg kind of quite literally melting inside of him.
Maybe even cauterizing the wound, right?
Mhm.
Like as it goes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I shove like a piece of iron fruit down like Kel's mouth, like so like Kel gets just a mouthful of like fruit of and feathers. And I think this is where my ruin increase comes from, because as like Kel starts to settle down, I put my hands inside the belly and lift out this egg as it's melting on top of me.
So your hands are covered in melted gold. Kel's torso is sealed up with melted gold. Risti has dipped her hands in the molten gold. Revel, you're a creature of stone. There's no pain or damage to be done to you. You could take all of the gold on your body right now. What do you do?
I think at first, while all of this is kind of just going on in the background, I think Revel is kind of completely tuned out that side of things and is just at first staring at this pool of molten gold. And then I think he like dips his fingers in it and starts to like draw symbols of his demon god like on his chest in molten gold.
Make a reduction roll. If you're entitled to. Are you at Ruin 5?
I'm
Or
at 4.
Were you ever at 5? You were at 5
yeah,
at
I
one
was
point,
at
right?
5.
Yeah, you can make one. Yeah.
Well, that's a 6.
Yeah. So probably the person who's most like to notice this is actually Kel in sort of like fever pains, you know, since the other two are kind of focused on the task. Kel, you'll see Revel painting demonic symbols onto his body with the molten gold. What do you do?
I think he's biting down on this fruit, and he like thrashes over and he looks over while he's like flat back on the ground, and he sees this sort of scene going on the side. This is his fault. This is all his fault. As he's sort of just convulsing in pain still, it starts to kind of calm down a little bit because of the stone fruit, but like he's still being sliced open. Like this is intense. And I think in that anger, he tries to kind of like kind of roll a little bit to like get a better like I don't know. He's trying, even on his back in pain, trying to slowly move that way, essentially, to like fuck him up.
Risti is on her knees in front of Revel. Revel, like a sort of, almost like a sort of demonic statue or altar. And she's doing the most terrifying, ululating noise out of her mouth, like a whale. I can't do it, but sort of this like ululating wail that just fills up the space. This is a lot. Everyone but Revel, for not just this, but for the whole scene, make a ruin roll. What everyone get?
I got a 1.
Ooh.
5, but thankfully my rune is now 5.
Indeed. So everyone's okay. There's molten gold all over the place. Revel's doing demonic shit. Risti's totally over the edge. Kel, Aram covered in molten gold. Bazo, you are doing something with the fat, presumably. What exactly is that?
I think the pieces of fat that had come out of the wound, I scoop them up and just start smearing them on my face and on my body, trying to absorb it in, trying to just push it through my pores.
Make a reduction roll to see if anyone notices this, I guess.
I rolled a 2.
And Bazo smeared with Kel's fat. The way is open. Down here at the bottom of the well, there is a crevasse in the earth that leads deeper into the mill proper. Bazo, Kel, and Revel, you hear the honking of geese deep in this crevasse. Aram, you hear the voices of people crying for help deeper in this crevasse. Aram, your arms and cheeks are now sprouting white feathers, and your neck is getting long, and your bones feel strange. Kel, you are drained from your experience, but you no longer have anything in your belly apart from just this sort of molten gold hole. Risti doesn't go any further. This is the only way out. Unless you want to try to go back up and find some other way. Aram, what do you do?
Like, it's very strange because like I have like the molten gold that had melted on my arms was just a very thin sheet, and like I can see it starting to crack with these like white feathers poking out. And I think because I cannot do this, I'll just describe it. I think Rob actually honks like a goose. And I just stumble, waddling forward, like trying to like have my hands work as they used to be, but like they're just so stiff.
Is everyone else going forward?
Real quick. So I'm gonna say this out loud. So I'm having a little bit. I have a little bit of a family emergency that I need to go attend.
Oh, okay. Is this something we
so-
can handle in a short time? Because we can just break.
I'm not sure. That's the
Okay.
thing. It might require some extra attention.
We will
so
leave
I'm-
your character there for now.
I am perfectly fine with leaving into ruin if need be.
Okay, very good. Well, if we see you in a bit, we'll see you in a bit. But otherwise,
Okay.
I hope it goes well, whatever you're dealing with.
Yeah, good luck.
Good luck.
Kel cannot go any further.
Mhm.
The injuries are too painful and bad. And also the iron fruit, which was, you did get a warning back in Cormoran's Wheel, like the iron fruit, like it's like morphine.
Mhm.
And so the three of you press forward instead. You are going deeper into the mill. You are overwhelmed by the smell of baking bread and the heat of an oversized oven, which you can see. It's a gigantic oven. You can walk right into it. Dozens of large, misshapen geese are wandering aimlessly, getting under your feet, honking strenuously. But they honk as if they are new to it. Like these geese, they don't know how to be geese. One of them approaches you, Bazo, and honks, but it's kind of like, huh? Help! 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 What do you do?
I look down at this goose and I think back to the last time I had fatty goose stew and how delicious it was. And I think about what just came out of Cal. I would like to see what's inside this goose, is what Basso decides to do.
You can grab it and crack it open, no problem. You don't find any golden egg, but the bones of the goose have fine gold veins, almost like kintsugi pottery, right?
Oh. Oh, perhaps the treasure isn't really treasure at all.
The geese are running.
Oh.
The geese run away as soon as they see you grab one of them. They run deeper toward the oven. Aram, you hear their cries more clearly. Help us! Help me! Help me! This is
Hey.
perhaps your fate awaiting you.
I think I'm just looking around. I don't see Basso like killing this goose. But I'm looking for a way out, and there's just this oven. Is this really it? Is there no way out?
Revel, whatever stone being spoke to you, taking the vague form of a gargoyle last time, that being is in the oven. They're calling to you. they're saying, it's your turn to stand watch. This voice from this oven. The oven is so big, it actually takes up, like, if you're just in your vision, your wide vision is the main thing you can see, right? If you look around, if you dip your head up and down, you'll see like the wooden and stone structures of this Titanic mill, but just looking straight ahead, it's all the oven and the geese running around. And then a hand as large as a full-grown man emerges from the darkness up ahead and sweeps around and grabs a goose, which it holds in its palm. You hear in the distance a painful honk, similar to what the one that the goose made that you just killed, Bazo. A painful cry, and then the snapping of bones. And then you see the Colossus more clearly. A giant that stands as tall as 10 men, walking with the goose, draining its bones of gold, dribbling them into a vat. And then it takes the bones over to the millstone, which you just now notice, and begins grinding the bones to make the flour. Everyone make a ruin roll, please. That's it. Who's still with us?
We all are.
You all are.
My ruin goes up, but I was back down to my starting ruin.
Okay.
So I'm at a 4 now.
Indeed.
I've rolled a 1 for every ruin roll that I've rolled today, and this is like the best I've ever rolled. So I feel really happy about that.
The game just wants you to stay alive to eat more of your cohorts.
I mean,
I will tell you that you see around the vat nuggets of solidified gold. Solidified gold. This is enough money to help you meet all of your dreams and aspirations if you could get your hands on it. Of course, you must approach the giant and the oven. What do you all do?
I think that Revel kind of remembers what Reesty had said about the giant not really being interested in Revel. And that makes him a little on the brazen side. And I think he kind of tries to go up and see if he can collect some of these nuggets.
Indeed. What about you, Aram?
I think Aram is going around the edge of the room looking for just a way out. That is Aram's main thing. Like, if we can get a way out, we can get these people out.
Bazo?
I would like to perform a ritual. In this
Which ritual?
case, compel. I would like whatever gooses happen to be around, whatever geese happen to be around me, I want one of them to go and collect some of these nuggets for me in their stomach and bring it back to me.
Oh, very good. I like it. Are Revel and Bazo, are you okay with sharing this pile of gold?
As far as Rebel knows.
There's nothing wrong with preventing either of you from taking all of it.
See how fast
Now,
my geese are.
Yeah, I think that Revel is okay because I don't like the value, like the monetary value of the gold is less relevant to Revel than like its appearance. So like I think that he would kind of leave the like uglier stones for the geese to eat, and like is looking specifically for like stones that would make good ornamentation.
Bazo is watching Rebel, and I mean, he can get close to this in a way that Bazo couldn't safely. And
I
if
think
he
I like
wants to
this
do
as
some of the
a
hard work,
yeah, I think I like this as a risk roll by Bazo with a help roll from Revel.
Okay.
If yeah, I think that feels like the right move here. What could go wrong, folks?
The geese aren't geese, obviously. So, like, I think there's still some sort of level of transformation they can take, and they will swarm Basso.
just
I
like
th-
in Zelda.
I think the giant might toss you, Revel, into the oven.
Yeah, I think there's inherent, even if he doesn't want me for flour, I'm still taking his gold,
Right.
which he might not
That-
appreciate. That's
Yeah, indeed. Let's talk dice, Bazo. Do you have a relevant skill?
Improvisation?
Yeah, I'm kind of into that because you're kind of like
Okay.
getting the goose to do a thing that they, yeah, this feels like improvisation. You've got
Thank
a
you
light
for the
die.
pity point.
No. I think it's justified. And devil's bargains. Everybody can offer one.
No matter what, Aram sees what you're doing.
that is a good one.
That's really good. Yeah.
No matter what, Reesty rejoins the group.
I don't think I have one that tops either of those options. Either one of those are really good.
I think I like the drama of Aram seeing this.
Very good. You have 2 light dice and 1 for the ritual. Go ahead and roll risk 2 light, 1 dark.
Rolled 2-6 light.
Wow, very good. Revel, give us the first part of the scene as you're going over there to collect gold.
I think that like you see Revel just very like he's still cautious. He's a little bit brazen, but like he's not an entire idiot. And like every time the giant moves, I think Revel like perches up, kind of like looking like a gargoyle again. And then moves a little bit closer, and these geese are running all over the place. And I think he has to kind of divert course a couple times. And he's kind of just going up and like looking intently at each little nugget of gold to find like the ones that he thinks are perfect ornamentations.
And Bazo, describe the rest of the scene.
Bazo whistles a little tune that she remembers from her time in the forest. She doesn't have a lot of solid memories about her time in the forest, but this little tune she does remember. And one of the geese perks up, pays attention, and starts to waddle towards these little nuggets of solid gold sitting around the vat, having fallen and solidified. And it starts scooping them up in its little beak and swallowing them down. You can see as its stomach gets bigger and bloated. And when it's swallowed as much as it could possibly take, it starts to waddle back. Bazo picks it up by the neck. Quick break. And puts it in the pouch that suddenly is now big enough for this creature. How strange. I think though that one of the nuggets gets regurgitated as the goose comes back, and Baza leans down to pick it up, and you can see this layer of bile and fat and gold through this pile, and she sniffs it and swallows it down herself. Then
What was
looks
the
up
devil's
at
what was the
Revel.
devil's bark in that roll?
Aram sees all of this.
Oh yeah, Rom. So how do you react?
I think I'd start shouting like, and again, I don't think it's words that actually come out, but just honks. Aram thinks he's saying some sort of pithy about the nature of justice, because these are people, they aren't geese. But Basso doesn't hear any of this.
Indeed, if you were making the sounds of a man, the giant might notice, but because it's the sounds of a goose, the giant pays no mind at all. Aram, do you want to try to find a way out?
I think this may be a like a contest roll, because I'm going to try to kill Basso.
Oh, very good. Very intriguing indeed. I like it. Yeah, I like it. It's good. That feels then like the conclusion of Ring 4. Let's take a 5-minute break.
Mhm.
Ring 5. Aram, you have invoked a contest roll to kill Basso. Basso, I assume you're going to resist this by participating in the contest roll.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about the rules for the contest roll. They are in the they're in the character keeper. If you want to hover over. Okay, whenever treasure hunters try to harm each other, first agree what's at stake. Are you going to try to kill Aram back or just escape from the harm?
I'll just try and escape from the harm.
Okay.
Oh, that's much nicer than I would have been.
This is whether Basso dies or not are the stakes. You get 1 light die if you have a skill that you think would apply. Taking a look at the skills, Aram has surprise and athletics, which are presumably both helpful. What do you think, Basso?
I think the only thing I have that's really applicable is improvisation. And I think it's really mostly applicable to Aram, because Aram has being an errant knight, a sellsword, has probably really like rigid training in
Oh yeah, I like that.
swords and
Oh yeah,
stuff.
I'm into
Like,
it. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I like that. Okay, you both have a light die, and you get another light die for every mark of ruin that you currently have. Basso, you have 4. Aram, you have 5. So the count is currently 6 Aram and 5 Basso. The contest is inherently dangerous, so you both have a dark die. And then as many other dark dice as you wish to risk. I'll remind you that you're looking for 6s, and any dark dice that come up a 1, your ruin goes up by 1. Whenever you have your quantities entered, let me know and we'll 3, 2, 1 roll.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1 roll. Okay, the result is you both have 1 6. So we have to go to 5s. You both have no 5s. We have to go to 4s. And Aram is the winner with 3 4s versus
Basso,
2 4s.
Basso's ruin also goes up by 2.
And Basso's ruin goes up by 2 with 2 6 start. So
I thoroughly killed Basso.
yes, Basso is dead. Please go ahead and describe that, Aram.
I think as like I'm honking, and since the surprise skill was what I was going with, I think what Basso wasn't expecting was other geese getting in on the action, because like they aren't truly geese, they are people, and together we are much stronger, and we won't be killed anymore. And so Bazo gets swarmed and is pecked and stabbed to death.
I think to rub salt in the wound too. I think because as this swarm comes towards Bazo and they realize that this is their end, their doom coming towards them, she reaches into her pouch to pull out anything to defend herself with, and this level of fright in her causes a ritual to arise, and the ritual is my other ritual, Spark, touch to revive a newly dead creature. And the goose that I just put in that pack that's full of gold, it slithers its way, with its neck kind of flopping back and forth out of the pouch and sits on Bazo's chest, knocking her down, weighing her down with the weight of all this gold so that she is there completely open and vulnerable to this attack.
I love it. Revel, I haven't forgotten about you. Revel, the light and heat of the oven is temporarily blocked. You probably wouldn't notice the heat, but you'll notice the light being temporarily blocked as the giant stands behind you, looming. You barely come to his knee. And the voice in the oven says, I have been here for so long. Please, brother, take my place. Let the Ancient One use you to power the furnace. What do you do?
I think that Revel responds to the voice and says, we were brothers once, but I serve a new master now. I think that you should join me and help me to overthrow the Ancient One. And then together we can leave and bring a new light to the world.
Intriguing. I think this is a risk roll. Amanda, chaotic, what could go wrong here?
I think you will get bound into the oven, and you two will be stuck together forever.
Mine
That's
is
my thinking
similar,
too,
but
yeah.
I'm thinking that the vat magically somehow covers you in gold, so you become this solid gold statue there forever.
That might be a good devil's bargain too. Let's talk dice. Do you have a skill that's relevant here?
I have negotiation.
Oh, I'll take that. Yeah, that's good. Devil's bargains. Amanda, do you want to offer the gold thing as a devil's bargain? It could be fun.
Yeah, I like that. No matter what, you get covered
in gold.
in gold.
Yeah. I'm gonna say I'm gonna say no matter what, Aram's escape is endangered.
No matter what, your form will shift into a way that you have never expected.
That's intriguing. 3 pretty good ones. One's kind of symbolic, one's kind of fucked up, and one's kind of ambiguous. Which do you want, if any? You can reject them all, of course.
I think I'm going to go with the no matter what, I get covered in gold.
Very good. You've got 2 light dice, and I think a dark die is inherent here. So go ahead and roll risk 2-1. Oh shit. No, for people watching the video, 3 ones.
Triple ones.
That means the one dark that's high, which means you
Yeah.
fail. Aram, if you want to endanger yourself and help, you can. Otherwise, you can let Revel to his fate and you get to escape free and clear.
I think I just help just by being a distraction, because like I think the sound of metal, like I pierce through the body of Basso and it hits stone, and that's what attracts the giant's attention. And I think that gives it Revel a bit of a pause.
We'll help
Oh,
see how it
God.
goes. A 4. So that succeeds. That means a success with a complication. The complication is just going to be that I think the complication is that whatever is in the oven is not good. So
That's
this
fair.
is going to work, Revel. You will be able to convince the thing to come out and leave with you. I don't know if we need to role play what else you say, unless you want to add an extra wrinkle to the argument that you're going to make.
I don't think so.
I think what happens is inside the oven is a demon. It is a demon of hell. And it says, so then you are willingly, freely, and of your own accord inviting me to join you in your world.
Yes, brother.
Excellent. And the fire leaps out of the oven and engulfs the giant. The giant lets out a single roar. Many of the geese burst into flames, and they scream their honking screams as they burn up. Not all of them, but some of them do. And the giant, now engulfed in the nimbus of fire, its eyes glowing bright, reaches down its hand and strokes your stone cheek with his fingers, which are enormous. And it says in a booming, crackling voice, "Lead the way." Aram, what do you do?
I'm trying to lead the geese out, like just like the remaining geese, like get away from this giant who's a fiery monster thing, and it's just flee for your lives.
I think you will see a crack in the stone masonry on the far end of the mill. You can run to it and try to escape. I think you are going to have to try to escape the demon.
Mm-hmm.
It's a risk roll. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
I think it's everybody else but me.
Oh yeah, sorry, I'm playing another game. What could go wrong here, Amanda and Blaine?
And the obvious one is just that the demon gets Aram.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
feel
what I was
like if
thinking
Aram
too.
is turning
Yeah.
into a human-sized goose, just throwing him into the making bones from his, or making bread from his bones would be a lot of bones, right? It'd be a lot of
Mhm.
bread. So that could be a thing. What if whatever magic this demon has, whatever power this demon has, turns you into the same kind of goose that the other gooses are like? Just like a little regular goose. I know it's geese. I just like gooses.
Yeah, I don't know if I think it could just be as simple as you just get burned up by the demon.
Mhm.
Let's talk dice. Do you have a relevant skill here?
Athletics.
I'll take it. And Blaine, you can make the devil's bargain.
I do like that it maybe no matter what, maybe you're not transformed fully into a goose, but your transformation is kind of pushed forward in all of the stress of this, and you become even more goose-like.
Yeah, I'll take that. I figured that was going to be happening anyways with my, if I survive this, my presumed epilogue. So
Say that again, Blaine. I was looking away for a minute. I got pinged by someone. What was your offer?
That no matter what, the goose transformation is pushed forward, maybe not fully,
yeah.
but that
Mm,
Aram becomes more goose-like.
yeah, I like that. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Okay. 2 light, 1 dark. Take it away.
Mhm. Oh, jeez. Five.
The complication is going to be that I think it's just that's the way that ultimately the demon and Revel have to leave as well. Entering into the world, even if it's after you.
Mhm.
Go ahead and describe your escape.
I think with everything that's going on, like, I think the goose that Bazo had picked up is still stuck in the bag, and I'm struggling to get the goose out. It's just too heavy to like walk by itself. So I pick it up under my arm and I'm just running with it. The other geese are falling behind me as we're just fleeing for our lives. And I think as I'm trying to crawl my way through the crack, I think instead of like arms coming out, there are these like winged like appendages with just like slight stubs for fingers, just trying to reach on out, pulling myself forward. And well, we run off, presumably further into the forests.
That concludes ring 5. Let's do epilogues. Everyone think for a minute. Just take like a quick 2-minute break while you all think of your epilogues. Think about if you're dead, just maybe think about what the world is like with your absence. If you brought a demon into the world, maybe consider what that looks like. But in any case, you can keep your epilogue focused on your own character. We'll come back in like 3 minutes. We have Kel back, so we will epilogue for Kel as well in this story. Epilogues, whoever wants to go first, take it away.
I think the camera pans over to Bazo's body as the demon leaves. Some fire catches, starts to burn the body down. There's not a lot of fat to burn, so it goes pretty quickly. We see through all the blood and viscera and sinew that is left after the pecking death, you see in her stomach that nugget that the goose had brought. But as the fire burns everything away, you realize it's not a nugget at all. It's an egg, a golden egg. And the egg cracks open in the heat. What comes out is a rat. The rat starts to whine, but as it whines, it starts to sound like a song, the same song that Bazo's ship heard when they were coming close to the forest. Other rats in the area start scurrying out of little crevices and corners, and this newly hatched rat with gold eyes and gold claws leads this set of rats out of the mill towards the town.
Thank you.
I think we see a scene about 3 years later. I think there is just this very strange and awkward walking human just trying to like bargain with people from a local town, trading golden nuggets for things. And there's rumors about this wandering rove of like beastmen, but not quite. They aren't wolves, but rather geese.
Oh, so good. So I think we see, like, the first shot we see is a swath of Cormorant's Wheel kind of on fire, and citizens like rushing to put it out, before it pans to like a fortress out in the woods, kind of overgrown and half falling in on itself. And inside you see Revel, and he's got this almost crown-like studding of gold nuggets around his forehead. And we pan up to this gigantic throne, and sitting on it is this stone giant, kind of orange with fire from the inside. And we start to see other stone creatures coming into this fortress. And the giant says, "Brothers, let us take our Lord's light out into the world."
And Kel.
I think we go back to the scene right where the party was leaving Kel, kind of broken on the side. We see he's not doing well. He's kind of unconscious. The party moves on without him. He fades in and out for a moment. He weakly reaches to his side and he pulls out a small lantern with a blue chill coming from the center of it. And as he does that, the heat sort of resides for a bit, and you watch as the kind of molten flesh and the gold that's still sort of lightly bubbling around him solidifies from the chill in the air. And you watch as he finds kind of a new purpose as he staggers himself upwards, his chest splayed out with this sort of like weird sort of statue of like jagged edges of gold dripping places that is kind of frozen mid-melt. He kind of grumbles to himself, "Yeah, that'll do," as he is slowly led by the blue light back up through Corman's Wheel and out into the darkness to disappear and pay his debts.
To make my bread. Let's do stars and wishes. Stars, of course, are things that you enjoyed about not just today, but the whole series. And wishes, in this context, wishes are just like maybe things you would have liked to have seen if different choices had been made or anything like that. I'll start. I had a great time. This is a really, really A+ series. The story was so good. It was so hellish and intense and unrelenting. Like it was just like it never let up, right? And I really loved the kind of like strange symbolism that was going on. I loved all of the callbacks, a lot of good storytelling connected to the drives, which was great. And also calling back to the things that happened in the first session at the market. I thought that was really good. Yeah, just a really, really good story, very action-packed at the end, and very weird and strange in Ring 3. You know, we got all the interesting details, you know, like in every part. Ring 3 was the kind of strange internal one. Ring 4 was like danger. Ring 5 was like, I don't know what the hell was going on in Ring 5. It was like just the sort of operatic hell finale that was Ring 5. It was all really great. And I don't really have any wishes. I mean, I think it's not so much a wish as just an observation. It was interesting that I didn't have to change Rings 4 and 5 too much for this new hellish kind of environment, like it because it already kind of is as written. But the changes I did make, I think, were very particular to the story, and it felt really good. Also, I just really loved Ring 3. The Ring 3 we did because of the change in the setting that took place in Ring 2. The Ring 3 we did was like really different from the Ring 3 that's in the thing. Having said that, a lot of that stuff still happens. Like Risty still plays the flute. You still have to talk about home, except in the as written version, it's much more like positive. It's like Risty is still like a good guy, and the song is like a good song. Like it doesn't have that evil shading, which I thought was really fun. It's good time. And everyone did a great job.
Stars for all the characters. They were also very different. Like Jason said, really leaning into the drives and making that just really the drive of your character. Really, it was really noticeable. It felt like these were not just treasure hunters that are about to die. It felt more than that. And for a really short, Trophy Dark kind of thing, that's a hard thing to do, and I thought everybody did a really wonderful job. I really loved the sequence with the flute and the song playing, and how everybody's just everybody's contributions to that. I thought it was really kind of darkly whimsical, and that was definitely my vibe. I really liked that part. Of course, the whole story was amazing. The change where we suddenly were all in hell, outstanding. Got stars for Jason Cordova for your changing of everything because of that big difference from the original. It was seamless. I wouldn't know where the edges were from the original, what was written and what you adapted. So that was awesome. And not that I was looking for it, because I was too invested in this story. Yeah, thank you everybody. This was a lot of fun.
God, everybody got such weird conditions, and I just loved it. It's like it was just very fascinating to like see like how everybody's drives come out. Like I know for like my drive to arm the resistance against Lord Hafir's tyranny, like that sort of changed throughout the incursion, rather than like having a specific goal. Became like a just general goal of justice and making things right. So I really liked how that played out during Ring 5. When I murdered Basso for killing the geese people. I'm glad that the geese people are now living out in the woods, living their best life.
Most of them, yeah.
Yeah.
I was really surprised by just how unintentionally I think our characters ended up embracing the fairy tale themes that kind of weave throughout the whole thing. I didn't realize it until I started session early, like pre-session, just thinking about some things. I'm playing the big bad wolf, and I didn't mean to do that. It just sort of happened. We have that errant knight who's, the knight in shining armor kind of feel. We have this old cook kind of, which is just this real, yeah, it's just all classic fairy tale stuff. Even the gargoyle is very like, it just kind of blew me away how it ended up pretty much weaving in that sort of theme throughout the whole thing. I think the world that was kind of created because of this, I mean, obviously, we know Kaldor and all that, and the Corman's Wheel. These are places with defined features, and there is a world that it's kind of already set in, but each Trophy Dark game, seeing how we alter it, this one was just, I don't know, there's some fascinating aspects that kind of got to come in there, so that was really good. This was a really fun character to play. I don't play brutes too often. and so that was fun. Wishes, wow. Wish I didn't have to miss the end, obviously, but you know, hey, that's things happen, life happens. And I think I was still pretty satisfied with getting that fun little epilogue there of like, hey, somehow after all this, the big bad wolf is the one who gets away with some piece of sanity still. And also a small thing, when I realized that I was playing the big bad wolf, I wrote a little like a side thing for if he was to turn full like beast, which was little sheep, help me feel full, not by your skin hiding under your wool. Then I'll heave and I'll hoe till you have nowhere to go. And I'm really upset that I didn't get to turn and sort of, you know, hunt people down for a bit, but that's okay. It was there if it was needed. So that was fun.
Yeah, this was I did not expect this to be the arc for Revel, but it happened. Definite stars for everyone for leaning into the weird conditions we started getting. I really particularly chaotic a rom slowly turning into a goose was so good. And Jason Burns, the way that you embrace the kind of like half transformation of Kel was really cool, and I liked how you really played into that. And again, I'll repeat this: a star for Jason Cordova for rolling with this whole weird subplot that I did not expect, but was really fun to like play around with the idea of hell and a demon possessed gargoyle. I don't think I have any wishes. This story, and I find this a lot with both Trophy Dark and Trophy Gold, like the story that comes about is never what I expect it to be, but it is always better than I ever could have anticipated it would be.
I have another star for I mentioned earlier that like everybody leading to the drives. I was really happy with how the drives drove the story, but also the conditions drove the story too. Like everyone's condition was really, really like super relevant to the outcome of the story, right? Like they really, really like were super like the condition was the thing that caused all the drama at the end. And so I really love that. Yeah, it was great. Any other stars or wishes? Okay, well, this was a pleasure. I'm glad we got to do this. I will have the video up pretty soon. Let's go ahead and wave goodbye to the people watching. Goodbye, everyone.